Hi, how's it going everyone? Now in this video I'm going to be taking a look at the Tilt renewable energy stock. And this stock has been in an overall uptrend for the past 2 years. And recently they had an extremely high earnings in their latest earnings report. So I wanted to take a look at the stock to see what happened there and whether or not this is a good investment opportunity for you. So who exactly is Tilt Renewable? Tilt Renewable develops, owns and manages renewable energy generation assets. Now these are mostly wind farms and solar power panels. They are formed from the demerger of Trustpower New Zealand. And Tilt Renewable has operations in both New Zealand and Australia. And they were incorporated back in 2016. With their main headquarters located in Melbourne, Australia. They have more than 300 operating wind turbines across 7 wind farms in Australia and New Zealand, with a capacity of around 582 megawatts. That represents around 11% of market share of the total wind capacity in Australasia. And they also have a further 8 wind farm projects in development to provide a further 2,000 megawatt capacity. So basically, they are a power company with a focus on renewable energy. Now, producing clean and renewable energy is very nice and all, but does the company actually make money? To answer this question, I started looking into the recent financials of the company. Now, part of the reason why I'm interested in the company is that in their most recent earnings report, they had a giant earnings of $478 million in earnings. Now, this is more than 20 times increase over their previous earnings, which hovers between the $12 to $16 million area. I wanted to find out what happened there. In their most recent annual report, the revenue that they reported is around $170 million. But their earnings is actually much higher than that. And seeing that should immediately raise some red flags, because earnings should not be higher than the revenue under normal circumstances. Now, by definition, revenue tracks the total amount of sales that a company has made throughout the year, while earnings track the portion of that the company actually gets to keep after all the expenses. So your revenue should be more than your earnings. I went and dug a little bit deeper into the annual report to see what actually happened there. Now, it turns out that Tilt Renewables sold the shares to one of their wind farms called the Snowtown 2 wind farm located in Australia for a total cash inflow of $556 million. So pretty much all of the earnings came from the sale of the wind farm assets. It's not because that they suddenly had some technological breakthrough, or they had investors putting money into the company. They simply sold off some of their assets. In the short term, this is perfectly fine for paying off debt, but unless they are planning on reinvesting that money into future development, it doesn't really do much for the company in the long term. The second thing that I noticed is that their revenue does not show significant increase year over year. This is not a good sign, because a profitable company should be seeing growth in revenue over time. They also have a negative earnings per share, which shows that they're actually losing money, and it's always risky to invest in a company that's losing money. So then I said, okay, is Tilt Renewable one of the leaders in the renewable energy sector that can steer the direction of the overall market? As in, do they have any competitive advantages? Let's say like Tesla, and how even though they have not been profitable for years, they are one of the leaders of innovation in the electrical vehicle space, and they can basically drive the market forward. Now, is Tilt Renewable in one of those positions? I looked at the major wind power companies in Australia and found that AGL Energy is one of the leaders in renewable wind power. In fact, they have more than 570 wind turbines that generate more than 1,500 megawatts of wind capacity. Another big player in wind power development is Wind Prospect, which was involved in developing more than 2,000 megawatt power of wind farms and has more than 4,000 megawatts of wind farm capacity in future development. Now, they are both significantly bigger than Tilt Renewable. Overall, Tilt Renewable is not one of the bigger players in the renewable energy space, which again might not be a problem in itself. It's just that they might not be a particularly influential player in the market. Furthermore, recently news came out that they had a blade failure at one of their recently commissioned wind farms in Victoria, Australia, where one of the blades separated and fell to the ground. So all 80 of their wind turbines were removed from site for investigation and assessment of damage. This means that there might be more downtime for one of their major wind farm sites. Overall, there has been a big shift in mentality towards clean renewable energy generation in recent years, and Tilt Renewable may have benefited from this shift, causing people to invest in the stock. However, the increase in Tilt Renewable stock price does not seem to have been based on how well the company has been doing overall. Many investors might have been investing in the company based on potential future development of the company. But for me personally, the lack of consistent growth in profits and revenue, they are not one of the main market leaders, and the fact that they have potential disruptions in their wind farm operations due to equipment failure, this means I find it pretty difficult to invest in them because of all of these uncertainties. But that is just my personal opinion and should not be taken as financial advice, so please make sure to do your own research. Tilt Renewable is listed on the New Zealand exchange, and if you are interested in investing in them or any other listed New Zealand companies, Sharesies is one of the best platforms to use. I have a link for signing up to Sharesies, which I will leave in the description below, so that you can get some free credits when you first sign up to your new account. And good luck with your investments, and I will see you in the next video.